Red Dead Online has had a number of updates, and with every single update, most of the time we have been taking the steps in the right direction. One of the best updates that we've had is the summer update. That dramatically changed the way that we look at future updates, because it was no longer about looking at the types of features that we can get, but in fact the type of roles that we can get. But that's not to say that everything we've had in these updates are good. In today's video, I'm going to be going through some of the worst additions we've ever had within Red Dead Online updates. Before I get into the video, if you agree or disagree with anything I say in this video, or if you can think of any other suggestions that should be added to this list, then let me know in the comment section down below. But starting off at number 1, I have listed poker tables. Poker tables were part of the spring update in 2019, which was released on the 14th of May, and it was kind of weird to see it as part of this update, but players took it nevertheless because we were all dying for content at this stage. The poker tables, as well as a lot of content from that spring update, was fun for the first couple of days, but after that you start to realize that it gets kind of boring, and this is why I think poker tables added during the spring update was kind of weird. It was because there was nothing else like it, and we also haven't had anything since. Poker tables 100% belong within Red Dead Online, but it was just a weird timing for it to be released during the spring update. You would expect it to be released as part of a gambling update, or even something that is there at the beginning of the game. It definitely adds a level of immersion, but for those that do really enjoy gambling within Red Dead Online, they only have the option of playing poker. There is no other game for them to move on to if they get bored of poker. Looking at GTA Online, when they had the casino update, they brought a whole casino in with a number of different games that players can gamble on, but with Red Dead Online all we have is poker, and there definitely should be more games added. But as of right now, players rarely ever play the poker tables, and there isn't a major community within Red Dead Online that dedicates themselves to gambling. So for now, it makes the poker table being one of the worst additions from that update. But I do hope in the future we do get an update that brings some more of the games that we get from the Red Dead Redemption 2 story into Red Dead Online, and hopefully you can start gambling a bit more with them. The second worst addition I have on my list is the change of fishing mechanics, of how you reel a fish in. And fishing itself was something that a lot of players went through, especially if you was a player this time last year. Fishing was the number way to make money, and you had a number of different ways in which you can do it. For those of you that were day one players, you all remember carcass fishing. You'll find an animal carcass, lay it in shallow water, fish will swim towards it, and they will die once the water gets too shallow and the fish touch the ground. Rockstar patched that, and it led players just to fish normally, and all the way up to the summer update, players would fish to get as much money as possible. But as soon as the trader role came out, it made fishing pointless, because you cannot use fish to donate to cribs to make goods, and all three roles, being the trader, the collector, and the bounty hunter, offered way more money than if you were to spend an hour fishing. And I'm not complaining that fishing shouldn't be part of the game, because it definitely should be, but on the exact same update, Rockstar also updated how you would reel in a fish, and to me this was pointless, because as soon as that update came, the numbers of players that did fish was dramatically reduced because they went on to do the new roles, as that was the new thing and the more entertaining thing. Yet again, this is a mechanic that I think definitely should be part of the game, but I think the timing of it was completely wrong. I do believe at some point within the future we will get a fishmonger role, and I think that is the point that Rockstar should have changed the mechanics of how you reel a fish in. But no, they did not do that. They changed it during the summer update, which was also the time in which players just stopped doing fishing because it was pointless for them. The third worst addition within Red Dead Online is Trader, Moonshiner, and Bounty Hunter events, and the main reason for this is because they never ever show up. For the previous two things on my list, they have been worst additions just because of timing. It just wasn't the right time for them to be implemented. But with these events, it 100% is the right time, but the execution of it is completely wrong, because they never ever show up, and it's rare for players to ever get them. A couple weeks ago, I did manage to get my first ever event, and it was full of Moonshiner. For that, I was just riding, finding collectibles, and then all of a sudden, I was told to go and rescue someone that was going to be buying my moonshine. So I rode all the way over to the location in which they needed to be rescued. I killed everyone there, picked them up, put them on the back of my horse, and then rode all the way over to Emerald Ranch. And the event itself was fun, especially the fact that it distracted me from what I was doing. But it took just over 3 months for me to get this event. The Moonshine update was released on the 13th of December, and I got this event mid-March. It took 3 months for me to get this event. But what makes matters worse is for the Trader and Bounty Hunter, that was released on the 10th of September, and I still have not had a single event for either of them. My camp has not been attacked, and I haven't had a player bounty. These role events are by far the worst additions in Red Dead Online, and that is why it's on this list. The fourth and final worst addition in Red Dead Online that I've got on my list is the Poppy Moonshine recipe. And similar to what I just said about the roles, this is not based on timing, but this is just based on execution. The content itself could have been very good, but the thing is, when the Moonshine update was released, the Moonshine update as a whole was just completely broken and filled with gameplay bugs. And these bugs did not get fixed until a month later. But by that time, most players have already progressed through the Moonshine update, they've already gone through the Moonshine role and managed to get to rank 20. Which means once they get to rank 20, that poppy Moonshine recipe was just not worth it. The idea behind it was, as soon as you got into the Moonshine role, you always had the option to find this recipe, which was based on a timer connected to bootlegger missions, story missions, and cell deliveries. As soon as you do one of those three things, you need to make sure that you wait an hour without touching the Moonshine role at all. And then in certain locations across the world of Red Dead Online, there will spawn an event. And for that event, you need to kill those NPCs, loot them, and you will find the poppy Moonshine recipe. But the problem was the timer was broken, which means it didn't know how long you've waited since doing one of those three things. So this event would never ever spawn for anyone. The poppy Moonshine recipe as well would have been very beneficial at the early stages of going through this role. If you managed to get anywhere between rank 1 going all the way up to rank 15, you would have been making more money compared to if you went for any other recipe. But as soon as you get to rank 16, you're getting into the final stages of completing the Moonshine role. All the special recipes sell for the exact same price. And because it took Rockstar a month to finish it, most players that were playing Red Dead at that stage were already getting a maximum payout for going through these other recipes. If the poppy Moonshine recipe offered an extra $20 compared to every other single recipe within there, it would 100% be worth it. But because it doesn't, and it's only offering what we can already get elsewhere, and the fact that it was completely broken when it was added, it is now added to this list of one of the worst additions within Red Dead Online. But anyway guys, that is my list of some of the worst content that we've had within Red Dead Online. For most of this content, I do feel like it actually does belong within the game, but because of timing or execution, it just has not been implemented well. If you agree or disagree with anything that I've said in this video, then let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.